Hi, NAFS here. It's been a while. Have you ever wondered what makes an idea turn into a film or a series? Is it the idea's complexity, or the amount of footage shot, or perhaps the time it takes for the idea to develop? Do these factors determine whether an idea becomes a film, or is there something else that makes it more suitable for the home screen? Films and TV shows are only separated by a small difference in runtime. The runtime of television series is designed for home viewing, featuring breaks between episodes and for focus on a continuous narrative. Because of this, TV series are often seen as a lesser art form compared to films. However, many television series have also broken this distinction and earned recognition for being on par with or even surpassing films. When we see an idea develop from scratch, what makes it perfect for the silver screen, and what makes a standout series that turns themes into a continuous story, capturing and unfolding those intricacies of living between fiction and reality. In this video essay, I will delve into Cooper Raiff's latest limited series, Hal Harper, to see what makes this show click by investigating four aspects of the show: the narrative structure, its vignette nature, the development of characters, and the intimate realism. I argue that Hal Harper only worked because it was working within the confines of television screen, and why it is definitely one of, if not the rawest and most poignant shows released in 2025. Spoilers ahead. As one of the most avid Cooper Raiff fans on the internet, when I found out after Cha Cha Real Smooth's success at South by Southwest that Cooper's third rodeo would be a film starring David Harper and Cooper Hoffman, I was more than excited to see what this talented young filmmaker would bring to the table when he's only the director of the project. I've always found Cooper's strength as a brilliant writer for this generation in how he captures the way we speak, and also as a good actor-director who brings out the best performances from his peers. Visually, his films are usually very simple, as he likes to focus on emotionality and acting. When the film was shelved because of the lack of financing, I was disappointed because I thought I would be able to see more of Cooper's directorial side. Fortunately, lo and behold, Hal Harper premiered this year at the Sundance Festival with high praise. Not only does the show let Cooper lean into a more visual side of storytelling, but he also continues his streak of creating resonating narratives with compelling, flawed characters. Hal Harper is based on Cooper's own web series idea from back in college, where he thought of a funny idea of seeing two kids grow too fast, where Cooper and his college girlfriend played siblings chatting on their dorm beds. This was further developed as a series over 6 years, where more talented people such as Lily Reinhardt and Mark Ruffalo and all the cast and crew came on board. It is an independently funded series that has a limited budget constraint. With a small crew, even the cast has to do different roles to produce the series. I argue that these constraints are what made Hal Harper work as a series within the confines of independent television. Thus, Cooper was able to bring out the most intimate and tight storytelling. Firstly, I find Cooper's approach to the show's narrative structure impressively suitable for the episodic nature of a series. When you step into the pilot episode, you'll find the jumping between timelines abrupt and hard to follow. The pilot episode sets the tone and style of the show clearly in how it is fragmented through its montages and soundscape. It captures how the family is shattered because of their shared trauma. It uses visual storytelling to unravel the blurry and painful memories in the most visceral way possible. It puts audiences in a subjective experience facing their own unwanted memories of the past. It opens with a short and clever scene that intrigues the viewers by letting Lily Reinhardt and Cooper Raiff act as the kids' version of themselves, creating an interesting juxtaposition when it cuts to the next scene, where Harper is already at work and Hal is attending a college party. This puts the audience in a state of disbelief and confusion about where or when this is supposed to be, because we're so attuned to seeing kids being kids and adults being adults. Just this simple play with the narrative structures and the brilliant idea of how we view the process of growing up, it perfectly captures the main theme of the show and the effect of trauma on kids who grow up too fast, and how their unresolved pain will hinder their growth, leaving traces of naivete and immaturity in them when they grow up. By expanding on the simple idea that Cooper had for a web series, he was able to explore growing pains through episode. Secondly, the vignette presentation of sequences also matches the themes of the series, while letting Cooper lean into a side of heavy visual storytelling. Other than the distinct narrative structure, by jumping through time, the vignettes that flash by might be happening within the same time period, but sometimes they flow through the process of growing up for the family. This can be really hard to follow if it is in a tight 90-minute film. However, as a series that consists of 8 30-minute-ish episodes with break each week, viewers are more adaptable to the always changing state of the show. The reliance on needle drops and vignette montages work like a music video, immersing audiences inside the subjective minds of the characters. This is also used as the very start of the pilot episode, right after the title drops. It is in the visuals and the effective editing that we are submerged in the emotions and history of the characters. Each episode makes use of memories on the past and how we are reminded of them as we grow. By subjectively fashioning the scenes, they remind us of how we get a glimpse of our own memories as the present moment passes by, where the past lingers in the present and shapes who we are and how we feel different things. In a show centered around the themes of trauma and grief, the specific technique poignantly and realistically presents how untreated wounds remain as scars as we grow up. This became a perfect audiovisual reminder that mixes with pop music on how sometimes life flows by too fast while we're still grasping the nature of growing up. Thirdly, the series length also enables the characters to have developed thoroughly within the 4 hours of runtime. I specifically love how Harper's cold and restrained outer self slowly gets cracked open as we confront her trauma of being the soaking sponge of all the family's emotions. By letting their emotions marinate through the episodes, audiences get to see Harper letting herself confront her demons as she opens up about her feelings to people around her and tries to move on. The episodic nature lets each character, not just Harper, work through their upbringing and their traumatic past within the family. Lily Reinhardt's phenomenal performance captures the unbearable burden of growing up without a mother figure. Being the sole female in the family, she's tough on the outside, but always has an emotionally sensitive side that is the caretaker of a broken family. There is hidden pain shown through Harper's eye in the show in how Lily portrays the character. Throughout the episodes, audiences get to see how the family functions codependently because of the shared wounds. We see how they are each trapped within the trauma of their mother leaving at a young age, and how they all try and yet struggle to be a functional family. Hal and Harper is about imperfect and flawed characters, and by spending time with them, we see the nuances in human beings and how these characters are just like us, often broken and sad, but with the companionship of each other in the family, through better or worse, they are finding their way through such pain. Even when letting go of their codependence is the only option that allows them to move forward. Characters are the driving forces of stories, and by having the luxurious time in a series to spend with them, we get to immerse ourselves and empathize with them even more, thus letting the episodic nature work within the long and overdue process of growing up. Lastly, I believe the series budget constraint also allows the show to develop a sense of intimate realism that could not be achieved if it were not within the confines of the show. With a small cast and crew, Cooper and his team must shoot scenes that rely on small, intimate interactions. The only set with a large crowd would likely be the party scenes, which feature many extras. Other than that, the show's emotional core depends on the little intimate interactions between characters. Thus, we are able to explore the themes of trauma and pain through the dialogue exchanges with the characters. From Jess and Harper, Harper and Audrey, Hal and Abby, Dad and Kate, to many more. Hal and Harper's foundation is therefore built upon exploring their insecurities and flaws through intimate and close scenes between them. Cooper also brilliantly uses a handheld free-flowing camera to capture these moments, tightly framing the characters and submerging audiences into their intimate space. In this aspect, the budgetary constraints of independent series made this specific stylistic choice work. It renders a lot of intimate moments realistic, capturing all the tiny details in between their dialogues and the unspoken bonds. Hal Harper is a show that carefully draws out its characters over the exclusive intimacy we get from such precious moments, where we get to see how their bonds falter and strengthen. These are all the reasons I believe make Hal Harper a brilliant series. By making use of both the merits and disadvantages in the form of a series, the show uses its runtime to establish its own frantic yet engaging narrative structure. And it also relies heavily on audio-visual montage to trigger innate responses from audiences. The show also lets its characters find their footing throughout the episodes. Thus, they use their interactions as the basis of the show's emotional core. As a show that is tightly budgeted and block short, meaning they shot all the episodes all at once, Cooper and his crew were able to craft a realistic world that audiences can find themselves in. Hal Harper is a show that is about growing up with trauma and how that changes us. No matter the little wisdom that we picked up as we grew or the wounds that never healed. In its runtime, we as audiences grew together with the family, empathized with their pain, and laughed at the little moments of joy they found themselves in. This is a show about slowly learning to let go of codependence with your family and begin the healing process of moving on. There are no perfect ideas made for the silver screen or our TV at home. But if you can find the strength of your idea and where it lies while utilizing the art form, you can craft any art that is going to reach the audience. Hal Harper is a good example of making use of what it has to the fullest and rendering a show that is poignant and gut-wrenching. If there is a story to tell in any way possible, make use of the constraints it throws at you and turn it into something that works for the story. When you can identify the emotional core of what makes your art tick, you can harness it and amplify its theme through whatever form you want it to be expressed in. There is no right or wrong in making art, and the same goes for parenting and living. Hal Harper shows how everyone grew up with their flaws, and by moving through time and understanding the memories that make us who we are, we can all find ways to move on and heal from the scars that history left us. Here's all I have to say. Watch the show and form your own opinion. Thank you for watching. Please comment, like, and share. Hopefully, you can also find the solace I found in the show about growing up too fast.